Print servers in federal environments create risk and unnecessary complexity. Every new printer, location, or policy adds strain to infrastructure that was never built for today's demands. FedRAMP High Authorized Printer Logic eliminates print servers with a secure cloud-native, zero-trust solution designed for federal IT. With advanced security, centralized control, and simplified management, agencies can modernize print without added burden. See what secure serverless printing looks like. Visit Vasion.com to learn more.
Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
A recent lawsuit could shape how federal agencies document artificial intelligence in the procurement process. Trax International Corporation recently alleged that the Army's AI tool used to determine a contract award hallucinated and weakened the company's bid. While it might be hard for the contractor to prove that the error actually mattered to the outcome, legal experts say the case could become the first to test how much information agencies may have to disclose about their use of AI during bid evaluations. Federal News Network's Anastasia Obis joins me now with more details. Anastasia, thanks for being here.
Hi, Terry.
Give us a little bit more insight into what this lawsuit is all about.
Yeah, this is a really interesting lawsuit. So what Trax is alleging here is that the AI tool that the Army used weakened their bid and that their rival, Southwest Range Services, ultimately won the $450 million contract. Trax previously filed a bid protest with the Government Accountability Office, and the Army did acknowledge there that one of the weaknesses it assigned to Trax wasn't actually supported by anything in their proposal, but GAO still denied the bid protest because they said it still didn't change the outcome. Trax then filed a lawsuit with the U.S. Court of Federal Claims asking them to reevaluate this. Many of the protests fail at GAO, as you know, because government agencies don't fully document their decisions. But in this case, they don't really say how the source selection authority got to that point. So basically, according to the lawsuit, the source selection authority adopted recommendations of the source selection advisory committee members without reviewing it. And according to Trax, they used AI at the source selection advisory committee level. And then the source selection authority didn't look into that record. They didn't validate those recommendations. And that's kind of where that hallucination took place.
How difficult will it be for Trax to prove their point or win the case?
It will be a difficult case. It will be difficult for them to win this one because Trax will have to show that this agency decision was irrational or arbitrary. And that prejudice requirement is really hard to win. The Army could say, sure, we made one mistake and it made your bid look weaker, but at the same time, other bids were still better than yours. Legal experts I spoke with said that that AI piece adds another dimension. That's why it's a really interesting case and a very notable one because, okay, it was an error, but given that it was an error due to AI, that's enough of an issue for the contractor to sue. And we don't know how that impacted the outcome. We don't know if there was a human involved. We know AI makes stuff up, so we don't really know how we can trust the score entirely.
When you think about this case more broadly, even if the decision doesn't sustain the protest, is it possible that this becomes precedent in terms of how agencies can use AI in procurement?
It's hard to tell. Maybe it might change how agencies document it because so far there is no specific federal acquisition rule that governs how AI can or can't be used in bid evaluation. It's fine if you're using AI. It's fine if you're using the tools, but somebody still needs to review the output. And if they're not reviewing it right, if there is no human in the loop, then this particular case is going to be a good case because now the Army, all agencies for that matter, will have to prove that a human meaningfully reviewed the records, and they have to stand behind what AI produced. And if they didn't do their job documenting it, that could look arbitrary. That could be the standard that, that's the standard that the contractor needs to win. So what it means, in the absence of any rules, agencies will have to really develop documentation procedures to include AI. They will have to be like, hey, we need to document this better. Otherwise, it will open us up to future litigation, to future lawsuits.
It sounds like what you're saying here is the selecting agency has to be very careful about their procurement requirements in a case. They have to be able to document those, and that way, if they used AI and it messed up one of the factors, for example, but the other factors were correct, then the Court of Federal Claims, or GAO, could better evaluate whether that had an impact on who won the solicitation, right?
Yes, precisely. Yep.
So as this case moves forward, then what will you be watching?
So the next major milestone is whether the Court of Federal Claims allows this case to proceed. If it does, then that discovery is going to become really interesting. Trax, they could have a great opportunity here to be the first people to force federal government's hand to turn over AI information. Of course, we don't know if they will ever get to that point, but when it worked in the past, it has worked in the past, and courts in the past have said that, fine, you're using AI, but it's discoverable information, and that discovery is where we could see a lot of information. But at the same time, the Army will say, but at the same time, the Army could say that even if they made a mistake during this process on AI use, Trax still wouldn't be the one to win the award, and courts could dismiss the case. What will be interesting to see here is the administrative record that the Army will have to produce, because that would disclose that source selection evaluation board report that we were talking about.
Sounds like there will be a lot of drama here and a lot of eyes on this case as it moves forward.
Absolutely.
That's Federal News Network's Anastasia Obis. And Anastasia, thanks for bringing this up for our awareness.
Thank you, Terry.
You can find her story at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive.